Hi, all. It's June, light the month, and I hope you're well. Today, I want to talk about the advantages of actually having a team supporting you versus actually working on your own or just working with one other person. Now, if anybody's ever been in a work situation before, you might have come across this situation where you have been assigned certain responsibilities that you get really good at. You start to master the art of that specific project or that's the way that you do things. You do it so well, and you get into this kind of a comfort zone of sorts because you know for yourself that you are reliable, you know that you can do it, and you don't have to wait on anybody else for that thing to get done. The thing is, this cycle of you believing that this task or this project should only be done by yourself ends up not actually supporting your growth in the future. Because when you keep that to yourself and you're not willing to delegate that out or share that with others, what that just means, it's not solidifying a position of you're unique and we need to make sure that you can only do this thing. Master the art. It actually creates a plateau for you because you will always be the one who gets relied on for that specific thing. And then you'll be stuck in that kind of box because that's what you'll refine your skill set as. Whereas if you look at a really good manager or somebody who can become a manager, that those are the people who learn their skills and then they delegate out and share it, teach others, train others on how to do it or how to do it even better than them so that they can move on to managing other people or moving on to develop other skills in different areas, therefore promoting growth. I believe that having a team actually supports a lot more efficiency within a business. And it's not just about having more people. It's about leveraging everyone's strengths and really curating a work culture and a work lifestyle that suits different areas of interests as well. Anytime I hire somebody, I never just look at, okay, what is their experience? You may have 5 years of experience in XYZ, but if you don't like it and if you don't enjoy it, then you're not going to be as productive in it than somebody who's super interested in creative work or video editing or writing, for example. The best way to make use of a really productive team is to play to each person's strengths. And I love that because it also just creates a work environment that people want to show up for and people enjoy the shit that they're doing. And of course, we all know that we get more productive in tasks that we like versus ones we don't. If we don't like it, there's resistance and you either avoid or it takes you longer to finish something, right? So if you have a team that each person is assigned in an area that they really enjoy, then that's just going to increase the efficiency all around. Another advantage to having a team might be collaboration. Sometimes collaborating with others to bounce ideas back, brainstorm, that creative process in itself is much more productive and it's easier to keep flowing or get the ball rolling, especially when you have just more than your own internal loop of feedback. When you hear something from somebody else or when you are sharing ideas, sharing like strategies, when people are working together, you're going to get there faster because there's a couple of minds. You could argue that in some cases, there might be too many cooks in the kitchen, which is true. But if you do it right and everybody has an area that they can take ownership for, then it's going to be shared out properly in a way that really helps each other rather than creating blocks because there's too many ideas going on. On that note of playing to each person's strengths, it's about also there's increased experience in certain areas already since that person specializes in, say, email marketing, or it might be like social, or it might be email customer service, whatever that area they are focused in, it means that they have more knowledge of outside use cases that they can bring to the table and use that feedback to make sure that they're doing things in the most optimal way. On the flip side, you of course have the growing pains of managing a team and leading a team, which in itself is actually something that you'll have to learn as part of your growth in business. And I'd say that management and leadership to me is one of the most interesting pieces of business because it's very based off your human interaction and how you communicate properly with each other, how you enable the work done, how you enable the training. And I think management and leadership is one of those things that are so unique that it's a difficult skill to be taught. It's something that you need to learn and cultivate along the way. And when you hire in a team, say, for example, how we have our team structured, we have an account manager that talks to you directly so that you can express like the ideas and the visions that you have with the account manager. And then because the account manager has access to a team of specialists, whether or not that's graphic designers, writers, website designers, all of these other contractors that we've already worked with before, that we've tried and tested, it allows this like synergy between our working relationship where there's one point of contact, but then the execution is worked out in the background to make things happen. You, in turn, as a creator or somebody who does work with a team, you don't need to then honestly be spending all of that time trying to source all of these extra people, all of these specialists in different areas. And then maybe you start working with, I don't know, a project manager, or you work with a web designer who completely doesn't understand your vision and there's a disconnect. And this happens often because maybe you haven't worked with them before, or maybe it's really difficult to get your vision across to them. And then you're working with a separate writer, for example, or you're working with another person who's working on your photos or whatever it is. There's so much work that needs to be done to integrate those people and those skill sets. And when you're not ready to manage all of that, like if you don't have enough time even to pay attention to enabling each person, what ends up happening is, of course, if there's somebody waiting on another person for a piece of work, whether or not that's a landing page copy for a sales page that needs to be implemented into a website for a funnel, for example. If your copywriter is blocked or that person is sick, if they're not available, then where does that leave you? You're blocked and then you aren't able to continue forward and move ahead. Whereas when you are working with a team that kind of handles all of this in the background, you don't need to deal with any of them. The account manager gets it done. And if that writer isn't available for that work during that time, then another writer will step in, or there's going to be communication about, okay, we need a little bit more time on writing. Maybe we need until next week for our copy to be done, but we manage all of that in the background. So there is an advantage that happens behind the scenes of a team working together, because then if somebody in that team isn't stepping up to the plate, let's say the contractor for, I don't know, the email marketing specialist or whoever, that one person isn't really stepping up, it's not on you to figure that out because you've already hired a team to tackle that for you. In the back end, on our end, if somebody's making mistakes, if somebody needs to review some of the work that they've done, or to be honest, like anybody, like any person in any team, if somebody isn't even feeling the best, what if they're going through something in their lives and it's just really affecting the quality of their work? If you are working one-on-one, you will have to deal with all these things on your own. Whereas when you have like a team that support you, that's like what happens in the background. At least that's how my team works. You don't need to be the one hiring, firing, pulling in contractors, pulling in like people, vetting them, managing them, checking in with them every single day to make sure shit's getting done. You don't need to do any of that. And I think that is actually such a big piece of our service that we provide that I don't talk about enough at all. I've worked with some of the most amazing contractors and also some of the worst. And the worst, you won't hear about what happens in those scenarios because it's on us to figure that out. It's on us to replace or it's on us to get the shit done. So I just wanted to share that insight into how important it is. And I find that this model works because, especially as an entrepreneur or a creator, sometimes you won't always have like website work. You won't always have email work to do. A lot of the things are very seldom, or they're very based off your current funnel and what is required to fill that funnel up. So, sometimes you won't even need that many graphics, but then there'll be periods of time where you do need graphics. Having a team that kind of take care of all these pieces as they come along, but they still have the specialists in each different area, that in turn increases the quality of output. And also, you don't have to deal with the management or the hiring side of having a team. So that's really interesting. Often I actually see some of our clients come to us after they've hired their first person, which I'm going to talk in depth about in a different video, but they get burned because you have this one person who you're hoping will actually take over and help you with all the things that you need done, but then you don't actually enable them or share any training, or you don't know how to manage them in a way that allows them to create the most output. So then you're feeling bad that you haven't gotten those assets to that person, or you're feeling bad because you haven't told them what to do. But then you're starting to feel like, oh, telling them what to do is actually creating more work for me rather than less. So how is this person helping? I've seen that happen, and it's why our clients do come to us. Um, but I think there's definitely ways to structure it out so that it is going to help that person help you. Yeah. So that is the main differences between actually being supported by a team versus by one person or just on your own. I hope that is helpful to you. If you like the vibe, please subscribe. I'm JuneAye, and I hope you have an amazing day. Ciao. Bye.